Darlings, pull up a chair, because today we're stepping into a storm the British press thought they could summon. But instead, all they've done is expose themselves. Again. Every time Meghan Markle breathes, it becomes a headline. Every time Harry chooses peace, it becomes a problem. And every time the Sussexes move forward with grace, joy and independence, the royal commentators begin to foam at the mouth like their salaries depend on it. Well, today truth reigns, and I hope you brought an umbrella, because we're about to pour. This is a story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and the storm they faced. The British press turned their lives into drama, revealing more about themselves than their subjects. Painted as rebels, they showed courage and a search for truth. The story the press told and the story that actually happened are two very different things. This is about the enduring human spirit and the power of choosing your own path. Let's start with a single moment. The Sussexes' 2020 statement. The press called it spiteful, but the words were measured and factual. It explained the rules around royal and their future plans. Clear, professional, and respectful. The outrage was manufactured because the statement broke an unspoken rule. It spoke directly to the public, bypassing palace channels. Harry and Meghan treated people as intelligent, refusing to play the game of whispers. Their statement wasn't an attack, but a boundary, a declaration of autonomy. By publishing facts on their own website, they asserted their right to tell their story. The backlash wasn't about content, but about the power to control the narrative. They chose transparency over tradition, clarity over intrigue. The real threat was their refusal to be managed. Many believed the royal family wanted Harry and Meghan to be happy, but the reality was more complex. The monarchy relies on dependence and control. The Sussexes' half-in, half-out model was too workable, too independent. Financial independence would have set a precedent, showing others a different life was possible. The stripping of titles and patronages wasn't about integrity, it was a warning. The hope was that loss of status would force them back, but the couple's resilience surprised everyone. They built a new life, proving the cage wasn't inescapable. Their independence challenged the monarchy's foundation, the power to grant or withhold favour. By thriving outside, they exposed the fragility of that power. They weren't punished for leaving, but for showing it was possible to leave and succeed. Their journey proved that service and worth aren't confined to palace walls. For Meghan Markle, royal privilege was an abstract concept. She built her career through talent and hard work, not birthright. The idea that she'd be dazzled by a title misunderstands her entirely. Royal life for Meghan meant baffling rules and limitations, a world that asked her to be less of herself. The so-called privilege came at the cost of her voice and freedom. She embraced responsibility, but found the perks were constraints in disguise. Her work ethic clashed with the institution's ceremonial pace. Meghan valued action over appearance, substance over style. Ultimately, she and Harry chose to build something new, valuing freedom over inherited status. Her true privilege is the freedom to use her voice and shape her own destiny. Sometimes the smallest things reveal the biggest truths. Take the controversy over the Sussexes' monogram, an H and M topped with a coronet. Other royals used similar monograms without criticism, but for Harry and Meghan it was framed as improper. This wasn't about protocol, but perception, a pattern of criticism aimed at Meghan. Every action was scrutinized, creating problems where none existed. The selective outrage painted them as troublemakers, even when following precedent. The real issue wasn't the monogram or branding, but who was using it. The press used minor storms to build a narrative of dissent. For those who looked closely, the only disrespect was the double standard. The rules were different for the Sussexes, and that was the point. Sussex Royal was more than an Instagram account. It was a phenomenon. It quickly became a global platform, connecting with millions and championing causes the monarchy struggled to reach. Its success unsettled the established order, as Harry and Meghan outshone the institution. In a hierarchy, no one is supposed to be more influential than the whole. The decision to forbid royal in their branding was a move to curtail their influence. It wasn't about a word, but about managing a perceived threat. The media spun it as putting them in their place, but the truth was more nuanced. Sussex Royal's success showed what was possible with a modern approach. Dismantling it was a loss for the causes they championed. Within the institution, there was a ceiling on how much good one could do, especially if it was done too well. What does this story teach us? Challenging an old system is never easy. It resists. The press created storms, turning systemic failure into family drama. But Harry and Meghan's actions were about challenging an unsustainable structure. Their journey was public, under harsh scrutiny, yet they held on to their dignity. They walked away from privilege in search of something more valuable. Freedom. Freedom to speak, to work, to live authentically. Their choice was one of courage, not spite. They built a new life, defined success on their own terms, and proved service doesn't require a palace. As the storm subsides, their story becomes a hopeful message. We all have the power to choose our own weather. For their quiet determination, they deserve not judgment, but admiration. So let the tabloids scream, let the commentators panic, let the so-called royal experts write their angry little columns. Because what Meghan and Harry did was simple. They told the truth. They protected their autonomy. They refused to be puppets. And they walked away with their dignity intact. Royal entitlement means nothing to them. But freedom, respect, family, purpose, those things mean everything, and that, my darlings, is what the institution will never forgive. But guess what? They don't need forgiveness from those who never supported them to begin with. They have each other. They have their children. They have their success. They have their peace. And they have the world watching, not with judgment, but with admiration. Let it rain. Let it pour. Because the truth is finally soaking through the cracks of that old palace wall.